Hello, greetings. Welcome to Attaining the Second Cognition. This is Doug Michael. My website, www.dougmichaeltruth.com. Thank you once again for spending your time with me, ladies and gentlemen, and for considering this information. Ladies and gentlemen, for years I've been informing my viewers that we are involved in a war on consciousness. Endall made the same statements in some of his books before we ever started working together. This same war scenario for the advancement of this species is also related in the New Paradigm books, and that leads us to the topic of this discussion, the cognitive war. This is going to be a hard-hitting presentation, ladies and gentlemen, because what I intend to relate is probably the greatest problem facing ground crew, and they're activating as effective team members in this cognitive war. Over the past few decades, the term light warrior has been bandied around like candy. Those who became lost in the New Age spiritual circus have adopted this label, and they are fully convinced that the idea of the light warrior, as the dogma presents, is some kind of real warrior. They feel that they can win this cognitive war by spewing love and light and sitting on their smarmy asses, thinking that by professing to be light warriors and avoiding the acknowledgement of the tyranny that surrounds us, that this tyranny is going to magically be love and lighted into dust. The infiltrated New Age movement has spread this docility doctrine like a cancer, and this idea of ignoring the negative is faulty and dangerous. I have never seen such a misdirected idea of a warrior ever present itself to human consciousness. This concept does not portray a warrior in any capacity. It portrays nothing more than wishful thinking and problem avoidance, all couched in a sense of moral and spiritual relativism, coupled with a smug sense of ego superiority. It is the ostrich syndrome, couched in love and light, rainbows and unicorns. I'm going to paint a different and very realistic picture of what it means to be a ground crew warrior, and it has nothing to do with docility and smarmy spiritual platitudes about love and light. We are in a real war here, people, with real weapons and real casualties. This is not simply some kind of philosophical concept. It is a fucking war. And the sooner you can wrap your head around this idea, the sooner you can step into your role as an effective ground crew operative. Unlike wars as we presently understand warfare with tanks and bombs and bullets, the weapons in this war are both psychological as well as energetic. I'm not going to listen to a bunch of people who are unwilling to embrace this concept for the simple reason that your denial will not alter the circumstances of this war. One can only be an effective warrior if they can acknowledge that they are continually under fire and change their circumstances to not stand around unarmed while the enemy keeps firing at you. Other than New Age doctrines about energy, most people are blissfully unaware of how energies are being used against humanity as a weapon. Because the majority of people on this planet are not energetically sensitive, they would prefer to rule out energetic warfare as even being a remote possibility, but I'm going to provide information in this video that even the staunchest disbeliever in this concept is going to have to wrestle to come to terms with. Energies can be encoded in the written word, how the words are presented on a page, and even the words used to relate ideas. Energies can be broadcast from one person to another, like an infectious virus, and the most abused form of energy as a weapon, used particularly against ground crew, is the emotional energy of love. Love, love, love. Oh, how the ego loves to feel loved, and the emotional energy of love. Here is the wake-up call to ground crew. The love energies present in all the spiritual and New Age doctrines are nothing but an infectious energy virus designed to handicap your consciousness. The emotional energy of love is being used as a weapon to misguide and steer ground crew members in particular from achieving their mission objective to create a new energetic paradigm of reality and species advancement. Once the spiritual love bug bites an individual, once one experiences the manipulated energy of love, then the doctrinal bullshit that is overlaid on the emotional experience is accepted without question. You see, it is the energy supplied through the emotional love experience that gets people hooked into believing the doctrines of docility, the whole love and light scenario. Once the love bug bites and the individual lets this emotional energy override their thinking, then they are lost to a feeling without a challenging thought to question where this alleged love energy came from, who's transmitting it, what purpose or agenda they have by creating such energetic emotional experiences, and most especially, whether such emotional manipulation might remotely have more negative effects than positive. In her upcoming book, Advanced Teachings for the Second Cognition, Mrs. Beall states, "Our physical bodies like to feel good. Our spirits want to feel good as well, but the hapim has an over-amplified need to feel good. When one approaches a PSOYCA path, all three components of the being, body, PSOYCA, and hapim, experience what we are looking for. That is why these New Age doctrines work so well in capturing our consciousness while it is under the control of the hapim. They give us the words that soothe our hapim, and they throw a little bit of truth in there to capture the attention of our PSOYCA, and then they program emotional love energy with intent to capture the attention of our physical form. When all three of our components gain the experience of feeling good, it is rare that we question it or dare to walk away from it. Within the framework of first cognition thinking, most people follow their emotions. With an emotional feeling or sensation, their brain shuts down any avenue for further critical questioning, particularly if the emotional energy makes them feel good, so that they literally get hooked on the feeling. Once the emotional feeling of love hits someone through these artificially created doctrines and artificially induced emotional triggers, the mind just blindly accepts the idea that if it feels good, it must therefore be good. This is one of the greatest deceptions the inorganics have ever used against this species. Now let's take this emotional manipulation to the next logical conclusion in this equation. When you can take this artificially induced feeling of love, then couple it with doctrines that this feeling of love originates from some kind of divine source, then you create a race of slaves who always seek that love feeling outside of themselves and continually seek communion with the divine to fulfill this mostly ego-oriented need for love. As hard as this premise is to accept, ladies and gentlemen, this is exactly how the love doctrine is used as a weapon to misdirect humanity into a maze for cognitive and energetic slavery from which most people can't remove themselves. We've reported in previous videos how the ground crew has suffered numerous losses in this war on consciousness. What I just illustrated is exactly why those ground crew members became casualties. They fell for the doctrines of love and light through the weaponizing of the presumed love energy and bought the doctrines hook, line, and sinker. Once an individual experiences that heart-swelling sensation that one feels when they're falling in love, which is exactly the same feeling artificially induced by the inorganic beings as a weapon, those who experience such feelings close their ears as well as their minds and give up to the feeling itself. Once that happens to a ground crew member, they are effectively removed from the battlefield and the other side scores a great victory so long as that ground crew member chooses to remain ensnared in that doctrinal net. In fact, so long as they serve as doctrinaires to the love and light inorganic agenda, they work for the other side. I hate to be the bringer of bad news, folks, but this is how the war is raging beyond your perceptions, and war is always ugly. The inorganics are ageless consciousnesses just as we are, only they are not in organic human form, and they have not been burdened with amnesia like we have, and they have not had to fight to get through to awaken our consciousness to operate in this form. They are masters at such energetic manipulation, and the energies they use against humanity can and are felt through the physical form. Their consortium allies are equally adept at energetic manipulation, what some mistakenly refer to as magic or black magic. Because of all the religious disinformation about Satan, the majority of people have not been able to figure out what is actually taking place through hidden rituals performed by Masons, Jesuits, Theosophists, and other hidden religious and esoteric traditions worldwide. Each of these rituals are designed to harness energies which the consortium directs at humanity as a weapon to keep themselves in a superior role by keeping such energetic manipulation out of the minds of the public by fabricating such myths about the devil, etc. Their inorganic playmates have instructed the consortium adepts in how to manipulate energies for ill purposes against humanity, and this is the real basis for hidden rituals and sacrifices throughout human history. The primary weapon in this war on human consciousness is energies, ladies and gentlemen, and you better wake up to the fact that it is a real war and not some spiritual feel-good walk in the park. Many people are aware of energy and think they know and understand energy because they are sensitive to it in their physical form. Energy is neutral. As Mrs. Beall explained in her book, The Energy Experience, energy is neither good nor bad. The light and dark aspect of energy is the texture and density of the energy. Intent programmed into energy is what determines whether the energy is good or bad. When the inorganics use the emotional love frequency as the carrier of their intent, the ill intent of control is masked by the physical form resonating with the love energy and Hapim's addiction to that energy, and the ill intent gets lost in the translation of perception. To use an analogy, if you mix Kool-Aid into water, you have a yummy fruity flavored drink that tastes good. The water is the representation of energy, and the Kool-Aid is the representation of the intent for the person drinking the Kool-Aid to resonate with the message. If you add something else, like cyanide, you can't see the addition of the poison or smell or taste it, but it is still there and can harm you. The drug or cyanide is the representation of the ill intent to bind and control your consciousness. In the 1970s, the followers of Jim Jones and his People's Temple cult all committed suicide by ingesting cyanide-laced Kool-Aid, which spawned a meme, "Don't drink the Kool-Aid." All of these love and light energetically programmed doctrinal messages are the dangerous Kool-Aid. You may be asking yourself, how are our messages any different as they are energetically encoded as well? Our messages are encoded with the energetic frequency of the new paradigm with specific intent of freedom, absolute freedom from tyranny and control, internally and externally. But with this freedom comes a great amount of personal responsibility. That is what makes the information we share different. Our messages are not designed through intent to make you feel good from an emotional standpoint. It isn't designed to make you lose your cognitive senses to an emotion that will blind you from pragmatic cognition. Every member of Ground Crew is a fully trained energetic warrior who has within them the capabilities to fight this war with better weapons than the consortium is using, but the access to this information is buried within you and will not be accessible until you can remove the layers of the controlling Hapim to access this information. Ground Crew are the ones that are resonating on an energetic level with the frequency of the new paradigm in our messages, and they can feel from their spirit the triggering of the energetic particle of the new paradigm that they carry. One is not going to access this information without unswerving impeccability and the knowledge on how to apply these weapons responsibly. We are not providing these weapons to ego-driven fools, and that is why you can't presently access that information within you until you have proven yourself as one who has the impeccability to use them correctly and responsibly. Along with impeccability, the Ground Crew is going to have to recognize that we are not here to heal the planet or heal people's bodies per se. For those Ground Crew members who feel that inner knowing that they are healers, have you ever considered that rather than healing the human form, that you are here to heal consciousness? Who is going to be able to heal the consciousness of a species that has been raped every day since its creation? Who do you think is going to clean up the energetically toxic environment that surrounds us and only feeds the inorganics? Who is qualified to do work on such a large scale? The Easter Bunny? Santa Claus? The Ground Crew are the experts in such cleanup and healing endeavors, but not so long as they dally in the daisy fields of love and light, wrapped in a sense of false compassion. We are nowhere near the point of healing until the battleground is cleared, which means you better come to grips with the idea that you are a warrior first and a healer second in this equation. If you can't find the steel within yourself to step into your role as a warrior in this war, then you're selling yourself short. You have to develop a spine of titanium if you ever expect to bear the burden of responsibility that comes with creating an entire new reality. Do you really think this is going to be easy? The inorganics knew full well that the Ground Crew would be appearing on this planet to stop their plans for tyranny, so they used every weapon at their disposal, aimed specifically at Ground Crew members to handicap our efforts in what we came here to do. Tragically, they are brilliant strategists, and they have created immensely more problems than we anticipated before incarnating as Earth humans. We have a monumental task ahead of us, and if any of you think this is going to be some kind of cakewalk, you better rethink that idea. We are here to slam the final nails in the coffin of tyranny. Here is another weapon that the Consortium and the inorganics are using against humanity. We have already warned our listeners about the inherent energetic dangers with Reiki. Reiki, just like the love virus, is an energetic harness designed to handicap the consciousness by attacking the body. Like the love virus, the Reiki virus also makes the person's body feel good, and also like the love virus, no one questions the feeling good, never realizing that the feel-good energy harnesses people firmly into the 3D frequency. One can't raise their vibration so long as they keep being pulled down into the 3D frequency range, yet this is exactly what Reiki does to everyone it touches. Now, beyond Reiki, we have artificial devices that can send similar harnessing signals through TV, films, DVDs, and the internet. For those who may balk at this notion, it's easily verified, as Endall reveals in his upcoming book, We Are Not Alone, Part 3, where it's reported. They have developed the technology for frequency manipulation, and the patent for the devices that can do this was patented by Hendrikus G. Luce with the U.S. Patent Office as a patent number 6,506,148, filed in 1978. This patent is registered as nervous system manipulation by electromagnetic fields from monitors. Through Luce's patent, they have developed the technology to tamper with the human neural network, meaning the entire nervous system, by transmitting signals through television and computer monitors. In Luce's abstract for the patent, which can be viewed at the U.S. Patent Office, he writes, physiological effects have been observed in a human subject in response to stimulation of the skin with weak electromagnetic fields that are pulsed with certain frequencies near 1/2 Hz or 2.4 Hz, such as to excite a sensory resonance. Many computer monitors and TV tubes, when displayed pulsed images, emit pulsed electromagnetic fields of sufficient amplitude to cause such excitation. Luce is responsible for a number of patents, the majority of which seem to be associated with manipulating the human nervous system through frequency control. The major importance of this information is found when one realizes that these frequency harnessing energies through Luce's patents are used very heavily on New Age videos and websites. They were designed specifically to lure ground crew members to those videos searching for tools for spiritual advancement. These Luce frequencies are embedded on every spiritual lore you can imagine, such as alleged DNA activations, binaural beats videos, videos by every channeler who posts videos on the net like Bashar, Kutumi, or Cryon, or Eckhart Tolle, the made-for-TV, one-size-fits-all, Oprah-approved guru. They are embedded as sub-signals on virtually every New Age website, and until one reaches a genuine level of vibratory discernment to actually feel these hateful energy signatures, the public is blissfully unaware of such subliminal energetic manipulation designed to keep the body's energetic field harnessed firmly in 3D, which also serves as a harness to one's consciousness. Hendrikus Luce has multiple registered patents, the vast majority of which target the human nervous system. Endall reveals in a later passage, there are probably a couple million New Age videos on YouTube, as covered previously, that carry similar energetic frequencies to also drag humans back down to that same operating 3D frequency. I think we can safely lay the responsibility for such frequency abuse at the feet of Luce's devices designed to attack the human nervous system. So let me try to paint a picture of what is happening through such frequency manipulation and abuse. The body and our consciousness are basically two units that operate in a symbiotic relationship. The body has its own form of consciousness, and the mind or spirit consciousness is a different form of consciousness, and ideally, they both work together. Because we are 3D material beings, our body is said to resonate within the range of the 3D spectrum of energetic frequencies. For the most part, this body resonance is not noticed because the vast majority of humanity simply accepts it as natural without giving it any thought whatsoever. Have you noticed the massive over-identification with the physical prevalent throughout the cultures of the world, and particularly in the West? I am my body is the mantra, and we can see this blatant doctrine spread everywhere. It's ubiquitous. The middle-aged, body-oriented woman who insists upon receiving Botox injections in the face to maintain her fading physical appearance instead of aging gracefully, right? Examine the shaming that occurs if a female isn't within a particular weight range. Who decides what this artificial standard of beauty should be? And how many people are more interested and attracted to a person's outer beauty rather than the light of their inner beauty? Not many, to be sure. It's all based on superficial appearances that appeal to the hyper-inflated ego. Tummy tucks, boob jobs, plastic surgery, crash dieting, toxic injections, and an endless list of superficial body-altering things to lock one into physical identification. By focusing so much on body orientation, it divides oneself inwardly and removes the focus from the true self, exactly as it's meant to do. And how many people buy into this shit without ever even thinking about it? Within the global conspiracy network, we have thousands of people talking about mind control and how the governments are using it against us. The simple fact is that if the consortium possessed such powerful mind control devices, it would be game over for humanity. The fact that any of us can still think freely at this point should illustrate that such mind control devices do not exist, or they would already have used them to control the human herds. The tool for mind control is the psychological programming of the HAPIM, the hacker program in your mind, through mass media, education, religion, and all the rest of it. Ladies and gentlemen, the consortium is not near as powerful as they'd like you to believe that they are. You're the one that truly holds the power. Energetic control of the species, on the other hand, is the real and present danger in this war on consciousness. It is this energetic war using weaponized energies that the ground crew brings to this equation, provided they can warrior up and get past all the illusions of love, light, sham compassion, and docility. If you can't truly find the warrior within, you are not a fully effective ground crew member. I don't know how I can better represent the fact that this is a real war, and as a ground crew member, you are an inherent warrior designed to transcend such tyranny and create a new evolutionary direction for an entire species. The door has been opened to the new paradigm reality for human cognitive and species evolution, but we are all going to have to be diligent defending warriors to keep that door open. For if we can't rise to this challenge, the consortium and their allies will do everything in their power to close that door forever. For those who have not yet embraced the severity of this situation and who have a problem with these concepts, all I can say is that you better get with the program. One can adopt the warrior mentality as they grow through their transitional phases into the second cognition, but that will never happen until one can accept the sobering nature of this mission. This is as serious as it gets, folks. The consortium knows all about this war, and they know all about using energy manipulation as a weapon. They have been using it against this species for well over 6,000 years, and it's time we all warrior up and stomp this tyrannical manipulation into the ground. They know we are here, and they are threatened by our presence. For they know that once we activate energetically, there ain't shit they can do to stop what we came here to do insofar as creating this new reality is concerned. All they can do to stop us is fill our heads with love and light doctrines of docility, artificially enforced through energetically manipulating our bodies and emotions, and that is why they have placed so much focus on their energetic tyranny. If they can steer our consciousness away from realizing who we are and what we came to do as energetic warriors, they feel they can win the war. So, it's time to put on your big boy shoes and step onto the battlefield. Anything less will not do the job. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, thank you for taking the time to open your mind and listen to Attaining the Second Cognition. I extend my gratitude and my deepest thanks to any and to all who take the time to open their minds, search for the truth, and to push forward in their own cognitive advancement and willful evolution. Thank you again, ladies and gentlemen. This is Doug Michael, and until next time, walk in peace.